May 7th, right?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go.
You doing Facebook first?
We're live on both.
Okay.
Hope everybody's doing good. Trying to get our cameras all situated. I think we're ready to rock. All right. Okay. So we had some questions in the,
We did.
and I'll try to cover
The
a
one
few
was
of them.
from Tuesday, too.
Okay.
Mike Clyburn.
I forget what that was. But hope you're all doing well. We got the bunker door open to the outside right now. So
Which means kids may.
if you hear some crazy kids running in and screaming, yelling, or somebody hollering at a chicken, or
I
You
might
never know.
holler too, because they've been eating my hostas. So if I jump up and start screaming, it's because they're eating my plants again.
yeah. So let's get started. One of the things I wanted to actually cover that I haven't, I don't know if I've ever taught this on video or not, but it's somebody had asked about knee bars, right? Knee bars, and
I don't remember that one.
so I wouldn't consider myself a leg lock specialist, but it's it's part of the curriculum of jiu-jitsu, so you have to understand how to attack the legs, especially if you want to be able to understand how to defend them. So I know, who was it? I think Dean Lister had that quote that people talk about all the time. Why would you ignore 50% of the body? It's a fair point, but keep in mind that a lot of the leg attacks, you need to understand when they're available, for at least for self-defense. When they apply to self-defense, they're not always as high on the priority list for the average person, and dealing with an average person in a street fight. And I mean, it may be something that you have to take advantage of, but I don't see that as a very high likelihood. What you see now, you see a lot of specialization in the martial arts. There's definitely people you can utilize them in MMA. You see it a lot. I'm going to butcher his name. Husamar Hayaris, fantastic leg locker. Ryan Hall, amazing and very good at understanding how to utilize them in a way that is still safe from getting hit. There's always that risk, but with MMA, you kind of have to take things with a little bit of a grain of salt, because when you get entangled in a leg lock, let's say she's got a hold of my foot here like this. What's illegal, like it's just a standard foot lock position. She's got a hold of my foot here like this, and she's wrapping my foot. Okay, and I'm just using this as an example. In modern mixed martial arts, I have to play this battle. I have to defend my foot, which you should always really concern yourself about defending your foot. But keep in mind too that modern mixed martial arts, if I threw a kick to her face right now, that's considered kicking it down to opponent. So the kicks, the up kicks, especially from the guard position, I don't like that rule. I wish that you could still do that. You can up kick if they're standing on their feet, but you can't if they're back attacking your leg. And so I think that changes things a little bit when you can. So I think whatever leg lock strategy that you have, it has to fit what your goals are for jiu-jitsu. If you're really just focused on no-gi competition, well, you're really going to have to spend a lot of time focusing on the leg lock entries, the attacks, controls, and also the defenses. For self-defense, I think they take a slightly lower priority. Mixed martial arts still a part of the game. I mean, you need to be as well versed as possible. Gi jiu-jitsu, most gi, let's say the standard that everybody considers the standard rules for competition are for the most part, IBJJF rules, and there you can do toe holds, foot locks, straight knee bars, but no twisting leg locks. I do believe that compression locks are legal, I'm talking about black belt level. But anything that's twisting leg lock is illegal. So I don't know. To me, when I'm training, it's all fair game. If somebody wants, if we're training the gi and we slap hands and somebody wants to go for a heel hook, I'm not upset at them at all. I mean, especially if they're of the appropriate level, they understand what they're doing, and you know. So I don't mind that at all. Whenever I'm training, I just assume that that's all part of the game. It's all fair game. Everybody has their own sort of like, I don't know. Everybody has their own rules of engagement when they train, and everybody has their own rules in their academy. Some people follow the IBJJF specific rules, and I don't, as far as white belt's concerned, I don't think you can do anything basically below the waist. Anything from the waist down, no submissions. So, and that includes even some takedowns. They sort of, like scissors takedown is illegal across the board just because of the danger it puts on the knee. So take it with a grain of salt, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But one series that I've always liked a lot, that's fit well into my game, is, and it's a fairly safe one to do. And I caught this in my very first black belt tournament. So I like this sequence quite a bit. It's from the knee cut pass. So here's what it looks like. If we can move this out of the way, Zaven, can you pull that direction? Yeah. So from the far side knee through pass, if I'm cutting through like this, okay, quite often they'll latch onto this foot here. So instead of fighting this direction, I want her to think I'm fighting this direction. Maybe I'm holding here, maybe I'm holding here, holding here. Doesn't matter. But as I'm in this process, a lot of times people will latch onto that foot. And so when they latch onto that foot, they're kind of connecting to me. So I'm going to swing this leg back and I'm going to scoop up her leg. So I use this knee to scoop that leg up, and I figure four. Right away, I'm going to grab here. So I'm laying kind of almost in the same direction as her, but when I grab this leg up, I want to grab here, okay? And I want to make sure when I grab her leg to take away their defense or have a better control, I want to grab the heel, I want to put her big toe by my ear, okay? And that allows me a good amount of control over the leg. If she's able to turn her leg, yes. Now she can kind of deal, and now she can kind of use the other foot to push, to push the leg, to free her leg, okay? So when I snatch this up, and I come here like this, and I pull this back, now she can't turn that way anymore. So this is not comfortable anymore. She's gonna twist her own knee. So this is the equivalent, having this control here over, the leg's too strong for me to control like I would an arm. If I'm in an arm lock, I'm gonna switch to an arm lock here. To control the rotation of the wrist and keep the arm in the right orientation here, I go here. I have good control, so I have opposing pressure on either side, either flat side of the arm. And hand over hand, I wrap the thumb. If I grab like this, you can turn your thumb the other way. Yes. Okay? Now, if I wrap like this, same thing. She can turn her thumb and change the orientation of her arm. If I go here, now turn it. It's not as easy. So palms together, wrap deep, okay? Thumbs in that right position, so it keeps this arm in the right orientation in order for me to finish the move. Now, let's do it one more time. Let's turn this direction a little bit. So as I come here like this and she's latched onto my foot, I'm going to swing this leg back, and as I'm sitting to this side, I'm scooping the leg up, okay? And I'm figure fouring my legs. Now I'm going to grab the foot, I bring it back, big toe to the ear, control the heel here. Now I wrap this arm over top like a chokehold. And now as I lay back, I'm going to extend my hips here, just like you would for an arm lock, okay? Now, 9 times out of 10, the second I scoop back and I wrap it up, she's probably already has her foot controlled anyway. So the defense here, the initial defense here, is this. So now I have to fight through this leg, but I don't. Okay, maybe I don't want this leg anymore. As soon as I see this figure four and I sit back here, I grab her foot, I pull it to my armpit, opposed, I shift, I bring this knee to the floor, and now I wrap up, I grab my own gi, I lay back, and now I use her own leg and my hips here to finish the foot lock. So I'm going to lay back and extend my hips. Now, ideally, this leg comes across a little bit here. You have a little bit more power. And you see how it's locked up on top of her own foot. So let's turn this direction a little bit. This is probably new to you, huh? Okay, so she's got it locked up. I'm focusing on the pass. I scoot back, I wrap it up, she figure fours, I grab the foot. I pull it and I shift my hips away from her. This knee goes to the floor. Now she's not gonna be able to kick me here at all, okay? Now I reach back, I want my forearm, okay? This part of my forearm to be right there where the Achilles heel meets the heel itself. So I slide and I catch it. So the upper part of her foot is right underneath my armpit. I wrap it up, this knee's on the floor. I grab my own collar, the far side collar, and now I lay back and I extend the hips. So I can bring this foot on top, but you don't need to. Just extend the hips here for the foot lock, okay? So that's one of my favorites. Like I said, I caught that in my very first black belt competition. I caught the foot because the person, like I said, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna protect that leg because they know that's the most immediate threat. And so when they make that figure four, just grab the foot, shift your hips away from them so they can't crowd you. Bring that knee to the floor and then wrap up your foot lock. You can do the figure four like this, you can grab your own collar, or you can just do this, either one. It's all good. So that's probably my favorite. I don't really go for leg locks that much unless they just kind of open themselves up, you know, they just kind of, they're there. Yeah. There was another one that I picked up a long time ago, but since I'm not sure you know the sequence or the movement, it might be difficult for me to pull off, and I don't want to look stupid until I prepare her properly. But it's basically a knee bar setup from a butterfly.
Gonna look stupid here?
Well, I'd have to teach you how to shut down the hook sweep to set up the knee bar position. It's pretty slick, but it's one that I saw Homola Bahal, who's just probably the best competitor I ever faced in competition. The same year I competed against him, he beat me in the nogi and he ended up facing Salo. He caught Salo Ribeiro in the knee bar. Salo defended it, but it was a really slick setup. So if you can find that video, 2007 Nogi Pan Ams, it's pretty slick. Very nice setup. So yeah, there's a bunch of different, there's a whole lot of leg locks out there. But as far as knee bars go, that's probably the only one that I do. I'll just, I'm in that position, I'm gonna go for it. I don't really fish for them very much. If they're there, I'll take them. But yeah, toe holds though, I like toe holds a lot. I like straight foot locks. Yeah. What were some of the other questions we had?
Well, from Tuesday, Mike's question, I believe it was on half guard sweeps.
Half guard, that's right, half guard sweeps. Yeah.
But then we've got a lot of others.
What's up, Zager? Hope everybody's good in the UK.
Paul Watt had asked about sneaky gi chokes. Crash Test Tommy
What's up,
from
Crash
Canada
Test?
says, when you are on the bottom and have a full guard broken, how do you combat the combat base?
Oh, so all right, let's do that really quickly. I'll show you a very, very simple way that I like to deal with it. So most people call this the combat base, where they have the knee in the middle. So you're familiar with this already. It's something that, actually, this is something that Mandy had questions about a couple months ago. It was a problem that it's very common, especially with smaller people. Smaller people really like getting that knee in the middle as their go-to as far as their beginning of the pass, but also to block any of the submissions that rely on the hips to shoot up and capture arm locks, triangles, things like that, the most common things. And also just to stay out of the closed guard. Because the closed guard, especially when you're a smaller person dealing with somebody who's bigger with longer legs, the closed guard can really be a pain. It can be really difficult if somebody really wants to lock you down in the closed guard and they're a lot bigger and stronger than you, it can be kind of a nightmare, right? So let's say I'm in that position, she's on the top, the guard's broken open, okay? So let's see, she gets the knee in the middle. Now, right now, this is where I have to respond quickly, because if I just hang out here, I mean, she's gonna start her pass. You don't want them to dominate and control this center position, this middle position. Now, she's got this knee down. Well, this is a whole different ball of wax. When I'm in the closed guard, now I've got a great deal of control. Once the guard opens, she gets the knee in the middle. I need to solve this problem quickly, because typically a good open guard, you're going to have control of the hips. Right now I don't have good control of the hips. She is going to, I have a pull, but I don't have a push. So if I'm able to get a foot in the hip, that's great because I have a push-pull. That controls her hips. Here, I don't have that. So all I have is a pull. That's only helping her pass the guard. Okay? So what I want to do is make space as quickly as I can. I want to put my foot or my shin against her shin. All right? Now, I make enough space to where her knee can drop to the floor. So I can block the bicep and I can stretch and I can pull her right into a triangle. Or if all I get is just this, in this direction. If all I get is just make a little bit of space, put the foot in the hip, here like this, and I just stretch that leg, I can pull her back into the closed guard. So again, once more for the triangle, knee comes in the middle, I make enough space, I hook inside, I block, stretch that leg as I pull, let the leg slip, and now I can shoot up for the triangle position. So one of my favorite go-tos, I guess, for dealing with that combat base with the knee in the middle. So hope that, who was that asked that question?
I believe it was Crash Test Tommy.
Yeah. Crash Test Tommy, thanks buddy. Appreciate the question. Hope that helps. What was the other thing? We were talking about half guard, correct?
Yes, from Tuesday. I don't know if I can find it now.
That's all right. We've got a boatload of other questions
Yeah,
as well.
we do have other questions, but he had
Yeah.
asked Tuesday, I believe it was half guard passes.
Or was it half guard sweeps?
Sweeps, yes. Cool half guard sweeps / things from Tuesday.
Okay. All right.
That was
Well,
my
Mike,
question. And then
I don't know how many cool half guard sweeps and things I have, but I'm pretty much a, I don't want to say a one-trick pony, but there's a series that I like a lot just from the half guard, because my main objective when I'm in the half guard, a lot of people like to just, they like living in the half guard, okay? So a lot of the competitions back in the day, I'll give you my little rant on the half guard.
you gonna ramble?
I am, a little bit. I'm only gonna ramble a little bit, I promise. I'll get back to the techniques in a second. But back when I started Jiu-Jitsu, there was a rule for a while that and they started to change it, they tried to change it because people are just good at manipulating, not manipulating the rules, but developing strategies and techniques that help you win within the rule set via points, okay? And so I would say that a lot of jiu-jitsu purists hate this because the whole objective of competition was to help us develop our capabilities for the fight. I think she has to go spray a chicken here real quick. They're trying to eat her plants. The whole objective of the competition was for us to develop our skills for the real fight, okay? So there you had, so they came up with a rule system that helped just really kind of help foster that. So you had, let's say, 2 points for the takedown, because you end up on the top. That's an advantage for being in a fight, right? If you're on the top, you got a good chance of winning. Or a sweep. That's the only way you can score points in the bottom. Is by sweeping them, by putting you on the top of the fight. So things that were advantageous in the fight. Okay, mount position was 4 points, right? Back mount 4 points. That's the most you can score in the competition because they are such dominant positions. And if you were allowed to strike in those positions, your chances of finishing your opponent were very high. The objective has always been, first and foremost, self-defense. But if you're able to finish the fight, we're prioritizing those techniques. Okay, so submission wins it. All right. Now, with that being said, sorry, I got another child jumping into the. Can you do me a favor? Can you shut the garage door for me? Yeah. All right. So, I got sidetracked. Sorry, children jumping into the party. There's a bunch of them around here. But the half guard, what happened was, eventually, the half guard was, if you got to the, I forget what it was like an advantage if you got, if you got to the half guard, if you landed in the half guard and you passed, you only got an advantage. If it was a full guard and you passed, you got 3 points. So this is a big difference. So a lot of people decided, well, why would I pull full guard when I can get to the half guard? I just pull half guard. If the guy passes, he only gets an advantage, and I get back to the half guard, and he passes again, I only get another advantage. Well, you can have a million advantage, and it gets wiped out by 1 point. So the guy could be on the bottom for a half hour, maybe not half hour, Okay, no matches where that
It's
one.
a long match.
Be there for 9 minutes. Let's say he's in 9 minutes in a 10-minute match. He gets to the half guard. Guy passes, gets an advantage. Racks up 4 advantage, whatever. Guy gets to the half guard and finally pulls off a sweep. Well, what's a sweep worth? As long as your legs are involved in it, it's 2 points. So that became sort of a strategy. So the half guard became a much bigger position than it really ever was meant to be, I think, as far as the self-defense round. Now, can you pull off a half guard sweep in self-defense? Yes. Can you pull it off in MMA? Yes, it's been done. But the guard is a much more superior position to defend yourself from. Okay, so yeah, so just prioritize it that way. So when I'm in the half guard, my objective is not to sweep my opponent. My number one objective is get back to the full guard. Okay, because I'm going to be better able to submit my opponent and defend myself and sweep from that position. I'm going to have better control in the full guard. So for me, the half guard is just, it's like that. It's half the guard. I want the full guard, okay? So with that being said, I play half guard a lot differently. It's kind of drilled in my head from my instructor, Helson. We don't do a lot of like what you see. Most people when they're in a half guard, it looks like this, okay? Looks like this. They'll have the figure 4 like this, okay? And that kind of locks me down, right? And if I decide I want to go underneath, like do something like this, yeah, it can be really advantageous, okay? But if I want to put her back in the guard, I have to let go of the control. And now there's no control over that leg. If she wants to step out to side control, or she wants, yes, or if she wants to step over the mount, she has that opportunity when I go here like this. Okay, so I don't like that. I don't like that approach at all. What I prefer in the half guard is controlling here. So now I'm going to trap with this leg. So now I have the movement and the control of it, and I have the control of the leg, but I still have the ability to move and put them back in the guard. Okay? So almost everything I do in the half guard is with this control. All right? Now, let's scoot this way a little bit. So in the half guard, what I'm going to do is, you can't be lazy here with this hook, okay? If I'm like this, wrap over my shoulder, please. Now switch your hip. Now walk your legs up. You feel this.
Yeah.
What's it feel like?
Like I can't control this thing.
It feels like I'm locking down your hip, right? So I'm flaring this foot out and I'm turning my knee in, okay? I don't want to be lazy. This is me without my weight on the foot, okay? It's just there. So if I'm doing this, she might as well just do what she did before. Wrap over the shoulder. There. Yes. Okay, so I want to have as best a control as possible. So I'm gonna trap that foot, and now I'm gonna turn my knee into her hip. Okay, so I'm flaring this leg out. Now it doesn't feel as comfortable for you to wrap over the shoulder.
No,
okay?
I can't get there.
And let's say she does. Let's say she's my size or big. Right there. As soon as I feel, and you'll notice I have my arms inside. I don't like underhooks here in this position. Okay, I like to be here. As soon as she turns, she's blocked my hip with her left knee, and she's sitting to her hip here. Now, eventually, she wants to get she wants to free her knee. So most of the time, what she's going to do, rewind, go back, is she's going to start to walk this leg up. She wants she wants that. She wants my foot to come off the floor. Now it's easy for her to push her knee free. So let's rewind again. Now, the second I feel I'm losing this control, she starts walking that foot up. The bottom foot is going to block. Rewind one more time. So I'm here. So she starts to walk it up. My bottom foot blocks her foot. So I block it here, so she can't walk it up anymore. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this foot, I hook inside her knee, I lift and tip her over, okay? So at the same time I do that, let's switch over to this side. Okay? So I'm here, I'm blocking, I'm framing. Okay, so when I feel that, I come here. I block with this bottom foot. The top leg now comes off and I hook underneath of her knee. Okay? As I do that, she might want to resist, so she's going to stretch this leg out, this bottom leg. So as I tip this leg, this hand comes down, I chop the knee. Okay? And then I can come up on top. Now, if she steps out, let's go back there again. Okay? So we're here. I block, let's say I hook here, but her timing's good. She steps out with that leg. Swing your right leg all the way back. Yes, good. I take it, as soon as I lose that hook, I take this one, I pull it in, and then I drive up on top here, okay? Just watch out you don't get
I was totally going to go for your
You're
hand.
going to go for the guillotine. It's a good setup, actually. That was something I got caught with when I was training with Huron last. We were in the half guard, I lifted, he stepped out, I hooked the leg, and he let me scoot up and he sat back and I snatched my neck. So that's a fun one. I've been sharing that with her and she's been snatching my neck up every time we train. She doesn't even care about passing the half guard anymore. She just wants my neck, which is good. Good for you. Forget the sweeps. Forget the passes. Wrap the neck. Go for the neck. All right. What time we got? How we doing?
6:26.
Oh man, time is flying.
Do we have more questions?
Depends on which ones you got to.
All right, bring it over here. Let's see what do we got. What do we got?
All right.
I hope that helps a little bit.
So,
Mr. Clyburn.
What's your favorite technique for escaping modified mount? Zager, I'm guessing, from the UK.
Okay.
This says, it's disconnected and reconnected. I'm not
Okay.
sure
All right.
what's going on here.
Well,
but-
hopefully we're still rocking on Facebook. I don't know if we lost everybody. Well, I hope it's still playing. I'm not sure.
hope so,
How we
too.
doing? How we doing over there on the YouTube live?
YouTube-
We're doing good. We're just
YouTube
looking at a
looks fine.
computer.
Yeah.
So let's answer that question, okay? Hopefully this pops back up here in a second. Let's go back to
To the YouTube question.
yes.
Favorite technique for escaping the modified mount.
Okay, so I have two. One is fancy, one is super simple. Now, I think we've covered this not too long ago, but modified mount. Boom. Here we go. Okay. The safest escape for me for modified mount. Let's start in standard mount, and then we'll switch to modified mount. Okay. So I turn to my side, and she goes to modified mount. As soon as she goes to modified mount, I have to decide if I'm going to stay here or if I'm going to go back to my back. Okay. If I decide I want to continue to escape here, I don't want to stay right here in this middle territory. This is where I'm in danger of collar choke, arm lock, her taking my back, you name it. Okay. So what I need to do is prevent all these wraps, okay? And I don't want this arm hanging out here. So I need to protect my neck, my arm, and my back, okay? So once this happens, and then I have to be ready for this. Let's say she's got a hand on the collar, she's attacking the neck. I try to bridge, she goes to modified mount. The second I know that she switches to modified mount, I need to sneak this arm inside. So I'm gonna push with this arm, this one sneaks under. I don't want this hanging out. Again, she's gonna arm lock me here, okay? So I need to sneak this under, and I switch here. And I pull my elbows all the way back to my body, and I plant my head. My chest is facing the floor, okay? My head and my shoulder are together. Both of my knees come up like this. So I'm balled up here. This hand is right here. So she tries to come underneath, like she wants to, she's meeting my hand every time. So I'm blocking it. And my elbow is buried, and I'm bringing this leg up like this. So there's no space. I'm buried underneath of her leg here. So both of my elbows are underneath of her leg. I'm gonna grab the pants here, start moving my hips. Shrimp crawl, once, twice, 3 times, whatever I need to. I hold the pants, because I don't want her just jumping out to side control. I sneak the top leg in, and I move my hips this direction. And I lift, and then I can come up on top. So that is my favorite. That's my go-to. What it looks like without her there is this. I turn to my side. As soon as I notice she transitions, I sneak here. I pull my elbow underneath my body. Both my legs come here. I ball up. My elbows are drawing a line right down my legs, right down my thighs. I never open this space again because she's going to occupy it. And I don't want her wrapping me up and taking my back. So I hold the pants, move. I sneak the top leg in. The bottom leg is what moves. And then I lift, and I come up, and I control that leg so I can end up passing. Second one, very much a timing thing. I'll practice this once out of 10 times, okay? Most of the time I stick with the standard, that first one, okay? But let's say I start to turn here, she lifts it, I come here right away. And I bridge, boom. I pull myself out, and I drag her leg here, okay? So as soon as there's space, I shoot this arm, this top arm, right underneath her knee, boom, here like this. This leg is the one that's gonna bridge. This one's gonna chop here. So I bring this knee high, I kick her right in the hips, here, like this. And I lift my hips up, I bridge, boom, here. I already have a hold of her leg. I'm up to my knees, I pull my head out. and now I pull the leg, okay? Most of the time they're gonna turn to face you. They're like, whoa, what happened? Where'd you go? So I'll smash that top leg and run around to this side. If they stay on their knees, I'll jump on their back. But most of the time, they're gonna be like, whoa, where'd they go? And turn to face you. So those are my two favorite. The first one though, that one's money. If you get it down, you practice that one, it's not hard, it's very simple. You can do it slowly, you don't have to do anything fast. And that's the kind of jiu-jitsu I really prefer. The second one is not necessarily a fast move, it's a timing move. If your timing is good, if you move in the transition, you just have to practice that. It's not a fast move. I'm not a fast guy. It's a timing thing. So a lot of times people mistake speed for timing, okay? So those are two of my favorites. Well, probably the only two I really use.
So I think we're back on Facebook here.
I hope so. It's us looking at the computer again. Look at that. All
Oh
right.
no, Natalie's taking notes. She's gonna get me stuck in half guard now.
Good.
Allison asks, so what do you do when someone has you in half guard and locks your hips down so you can't make space?
I'm not sure what she means as far as locks it down. I'd have to see the specifics. I think I know what she might be meaning because there's a lockdown in the half guard, but that may not be what she's explaining. I'm not sure. Sorry, I probably need some more clarification. Connection was yuck for a minute.
Yeah, and there's a lag on Facebook, so she
Yeah.
probably won't hear us ask this for a few
Probably
seconds.
not, yeah. So what other questions we have? What time we got? How
We
doing?
are at 6:32.
Man, we got time for maybe one more. I like keeping these like right around 30 to 40 minutes. So, and I talk too much. You guys know me. I want to make sure I cover as much technique, but also kind of give a little bit about the concepts behind them as well. And I think
Yeah,
the
we're,
concepts and the philosophy of jiu-jitsu are just as important as the technique. They flavor the technique. That's what, yeah. And plus we have kids every now and then and chickens that, interrupt our broadcast.
So there were actually quite a few other questions on your thumbnail that
yeah.
you posted earlier. So,
Good.
Robert had asked about closed guard attacks or Ezekiel
Robert.
chokes.
Okay, so I'm gonna share, this is the last one we'll do because we were kind of talking about half guard anyway. He asked about closed guard attacks, which is a whole, that's a whole class in and of itself. But we kind of promised people that we'd focus a little bit on half guard today, and he asked about Ezekiel chokes. This one I like a lot. There's two main types of Ezekiel choke. One is this, where you're extending away. Once you slip it across, it's like a noose. The other one is very much a compression. You can use the material or you can use your own wrist, okay, like this. You can do it without a gi. It's more of a compression type Ezekiel. I'm not even sure you would consider it the same choke. They're a little bit different, but they look very similar. So this one I like a lot from the half guard. I picked this up years ago from my friend Daniel Reich, multiple-time world champion, and he was really good at this one. So half guard, remember, we talked a little bit, let's turn this way a little bit. We talked a little bit about how most people, I want you to figure 4, right, wrong, there you go. She's gonna do it wrong. Not wrong, it's just wrong for us necessarily, okay? So, a lot of what he would do sometimes in the half guard was be underneath like this and really tight, and I like that a lot. But sometimes you get underneath this neck here. This is one of the first things that happens when you find yourself in half guard is you want to shut down that easy escape. So the knee comes close to the hip, okay? And what we're going to do is try to control their spine. We want to keep them flat. They're strong if they can turn on their side like this. This is a very powerful position, okay? So especially when they plant on the floor, they're going to move their hips, all right? So if she wants her hips to be turned this way, the easiest way to manipulate that is to turn her face the other direction. So if I turn her spine this way, you put them in a very, very weak position. And so that's a lot of what we want to do when we're on the top. We want to make our opponent, we want to put them in a weakened position, okay? Now, a lot of times what's going to happen, I'm going to get a little bit deeper here, okay, is a lot of people really, really like going for the underhook here, okay? So if I bait this enough, I start fighting this up here, I make her want to feel like I want her to feel like I want this arm up, okay? But I want to make enough space to
to where she can actually dive underneath. Now I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna lower myself a little bit here like this. I can even figure four my own leg to lock her down. I grab here, or I grab for me it's easier just to grab here, and this is not comfortable, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, the two knuckles are gonna go right in the side of the neck here. So it's my bicep on one side, it's the two knuckles on this side. But what adds with the pressure, when I grab here like this, I put my forehead on top of my own fist, and I compress. So I'm dropping my shoulder in, so I'm cutting off that side, but I'm pushing it into the fist, and my head goes here. So once again, I get deep underneath the neck. I want to make sure I have a good bite here. Now I start doing this. I start annoying them, making them, but I make it loose enough to where they swim underneath. So she wants to get a deep underhook like this. I come here right away. I close everything off. I grab here, forehead on top of my own fist, and I compress it here. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
It's not the most comfortable choke, but it's a very, very precise choke because my bicep, you felt it. I mean, it crushed your larynx a little bit, but the bicep is on the one side, the fist is on the other, okay? And so you just lock them down in half guard and you choke them right there, okay? It's a very, very simple choke. As long as you have a good bite on the neck and you get a deep bite there, you make them think that you want that arm up. So they're in the mindset of, oh man, he's trying to pass the half guard, which most people do, right? They want to improve their position. There are a lot of submissions from the top in the half guard, but people, since they have control of one leg there in the half guard, that gives them a little bit more of a sense of comfort than they would be in, say, side control or mount. They feel like they still have something, and so they start to want to improve their position. So they're a little bit more, I don't want to say careless, that's not the right word, but they're a little bit more carefree about where their hands go, right? So they start fishing. I want the underhook so I can get to my side. Boom. And it slips right in, and yeah. You felt it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good choke.
It's very choky.
Yes,
It's a
very
choky
choky. A choky choke. Yeah. I like that one a lot. I've used that one quite a bit. It's very simple, not hard to do, but just make sure you have a good bite. You want to reach deep right underneath that neck so that when you bring that shoulder down, you have a good compression, okay? So, is that good for tonight? Good for tonight? Awesome. Thank you all for joining us. Hope this stuff helps. If you're not a subscriber already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell button or whatever it is, and you'll get notifications when we go live and all that stuff. And yeah, write some comments if you guys have any questions. We'll be back here Saturday at noon. So stay awesome, people. Appreciate you.